Hi everybody, it's Charlie. Welcome back to my channel. First of all, I want to say sorry that it took a while to get this video out there. There's been some stuff happening in my private life and that prevented me from making a video sooner. So now that we have that out of the way, we're just gonna start. Okay, so we're playing as Diana. It's night number 7. Let's have a look at what's gonna happen this time. Okay, so we can't do anything right now other than rest, so I guess that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we have some new faces pop on screen. Who are you? A nosy reporter. There's a sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's Haven. She could use our help with the problem. And then we had Hope pop back up. And then let's see what... as you leave your haven, a homeless man bumps into you. You turn after him, but he blends into the crowd before you can even get a good look at his face. Instinctively, you check your pocket. A note. Looking at... oh, Manhattan Bridge. Come over D. Do we want to go to Jezebel? You know what? I'm gonna do this. Somebody's watching me. Recently you're feeling as if somebody keeps tailing you. Time to confirm your suspicions. Let's just do that. Someone is following you around. Has been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is what to do about it. I'm gonna provoke them. You venture out to the street with the goal of letting your stalker know you're aware of being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside, and as you step onto the street in front of your haven, you wonder whether that'll help you. Will you be able to see the footprints of your stalker in puddles on the ground? Not sure where to start, you slip a few bills to a homeless man and chat up the guy who runs the local bodega. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of their stories seem right to you. Walking the streets, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you, and that your stalker has decided to take the night off. Frustrated, after a couple of hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms towards you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet those of the man on the bike, and you both know you'll collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushing you forward. You tumble, flying to the sidewalk as a courier zooms past. You feel a weight on your back, and catch a glimpse of something. A person. Female, you think, and then she disappears. I bet this is the person following us, and maybe they mean no harm. You could spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's been stalking you, but... in your shriveled undead heart, you know it to be futile. She's gone. Okay, that was rather short. Let's go to Hope. Let's have a sip first. Some cold iced tea. That always hits the spot in summer. Okay, let's do Hope. Hope's poorly scribbled message reaches you in your haven. With an unmarked envelope, you'll find a barely legible address you're supposed to reach, and the hour you're expected to arrive there. This is it then, the night of the final showdown. You check the clock. There's way more than enough time to comfortably reach your destination, but you decide to take a drive earlier, just in case. The ride is uneventful, but becomes more and more tense as it goes on. The gravity of the situation starts getting to you. You're about to set out on an operation against a key NYC figure well connected with both human and vampire elites. What if your security overwhelms you? How will the council react to your raid? You can only trust that Hope has thought it all through. She doesn't seem like the type who'd attempt a suicidal mission, which isn't something you typically say about a person who regularly inflicts violence on herself in front of the camera. When you arrive at your destination, you find yourself in front of a building with a double spiral window on it. This must be Montgomery's headquarters, then. You look around the street and notice an obnoxiously lavender Mazda car parked nearby. Even though you've never seen it before, you might have an idea who it belongs to. You park your own car at a distance from the double spiral building and approach the Mazda. A familiar figure is behind the wheel, holding a smartphone in her hand. You knock on the window, and she opens the window without turning her eyes from the device. Wow, you're early. I didn't think I'd find you right in front of the building. Don't care too much for being inconspicuous. Why should I be inconspicuous? I'm not planning to come back alive. She lets a dead silence linger in the air for 10 seconds. Then she stops typing, diverts her eyes from the screen and gives you a melancholic stare, and winks. Psych. God damn it. Come on, what's with that face? I suffer from too much FOMO to let myself die. I've got accounts to run, notifications to check. Plus, no way in hell I'd allow Montgomery the satisfaction of a draw. We're going there to secure a flawless victory. No time to wait. Let's go. She gets out of the car and motions you to walk with her. Anywho, glad you managed to make sense of my ugly scribbles. I totally forgot how exhausting it is to write stuff by hand. Still not as exhausting as having to deliver messages personally to someone's door. Next time you meet Langley, ask her to get you a flip phone or something, okay? You reach the front of the building. We're about to burn this shithole down to the ground. Hope, I wouldn't mind if you'll let me in on your plan this time. Oh, Diana, baby, one would think that by now you'd know. I'm a need-to-know basis kind of gal. But luckily, there's not much of a plan to talk about. You've done all the hard work during your meeting with Kara. You see, our job is easy. We need to get in, destroy the server containing all the double spiral research, and walk out. No spectacle, no dramatic showdowns. Now, I know exactly what you're going to say. But wait, Hope, if this data is so priceless, shouldn't she have external backups? Is Kara a complete dunce? Wow, what did my voice do there? Guess we're gonna need to take another sip. Excellent question, my neonate friend. The answer is yes, she is a dunce, but aside from her numerous negative qualities, she also has a positive one. She's totally paranoid. She used to be a naive dumbass who wouldn't even cover up her laptop camera. But she lost trust in all external companies after this little cyber espionage incident. She's obsessed with not uploading her precious data anywhere online. Now she only has one physical backup, hidden deeper in the headquarters. Nobody has an idea of where it might be, but I do. Normally, I'd never be able to reach the place. Double Spiral is like an underground base. The walls and doors are reinforced, both against the living and the dead. But the answer to this problem is simple. We only need Kara to lend us her voice, so that we can override all the security measures and get to the heart of the facility. What do you say, Kara? Will you help your girl out for all time's sake? Hope quickly writes something down on her phone. A few seconds later, a nearly perfect imitation of Kara Montgomery's voice escapes her speaker. You know, IT, let's bust this bitch open. Wow, the sound quality is incredible and the voice sounds only the tiniest bit off. Whatever she paid for that tech, it was worth it. Oh, and if you're afraid of consequences from the Camarilla, don't be. I'm assuming full responsibility and my ass is covered. I've got some favors to collect and to offer. Besides, Kara's a goddamn snake and everybody knows it. No important player will miss her influence. They were only tolerating her in case she hit it big with her tech. It's all about cash in abundance. Life is a bitch and then you die. Cool. I know how I'm gonna voice it now. Yes. Some parts sound a tiny bit too robotic. Could there be a pattern here? Too bad she won't ever get the chance to succeed, so without further ado, shall we? Hope starts marching towards the revolving door. You close your eyes and make an effort to sharpen your senses, and follow the Malkavian into the lobby of the double spiral building. There's a sole security guard at the entrance. He raises his voice to ask about your business, but it's stopped short by Hope's commanding voice. No need, we're expected. The man looks at looks lost and disoriented for a moment. Then the gears in his head slowly begin to turn, and he nods his head, silently opening a gate leading to the elevators. Hope heads into one of them, and you follow. She presses a button, and the car starts heading to the lowest floor. Eventually, the doors open. Welcome to Kara Montgomery's deadly dungeon, Diana. What appear before your eyes are the dimly lit corridors of an IT office, empty and silent. The air is stiff and dusty, and there is a sharp, rotten stench in the air that you're unable to identify. The menacing atmosphere makes it hard to recognize at first, but this looks like an active workplace. It really is a dungeon, although a corporate one where people are cheated of life. Less than a month ago, you were stuck in a similar workspace, blissfully unaware that you were headed for death. But your office kept up appearances, at least. Let's just get to the first door and test my little Kara out. You follow her until you reach the end of the corridor. There you encounter an expensive-looking reinforced door with voice controls on the side. Hope pushes a button. A robotic voice comes out of the speaker. Semiotics. Seriously? Come on. Hope types the word into her phone and lets virtual Kara repeat the password. Semiotics. A sound rings out, reminiscent of cues that TV quiz shows use to let the contestant know they have a wrong answer. Verification error. Please try again. You give Hope a nervous look. She bites her lip and presses the button again. Hyper real. Tap 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 tap. Hyper real. Access granted. The doors slowly open. You notice your companion is wearing a sour expression. Looks like the tech isn't quite perfect. At least the passwords seem randomized, so we can try and brute force our way in. Unless the system locks us out after a few failed attempts. She shakes her head and turns to you, her lips attempting to approximate a sincere smile. Well, we can only hope that the data you've collected is enough. Into the beast's maw we go. She marches into the room, and you walk right after her. The doors lock behind you with a loud thud. It's a wide open office. It would be as murky as the corridor you just left if it wasn't for rows of monitors illuminating the space. A shadowy figure stares at every screen in the room. Kara's voice plays from Hope's speaker. Behold, this is where the magic happens. A family of driven folks, hungry for success, always taking the bull by the horns, building a high-tech performance culture together. None of the figures raise their heads. They're too busy programming, organizing spreadsheets, and typing in endless strings of text. What's wrong with these guys? Don't worry. They're likely just a bunch of ghouls and whatnot, hard-working, conditioned, tireless, low-maintenance, kinda dumb, perfect workers. Probably won't leave their seats unless we make them, but let's not. We've got more important things to do, like destroying a few years' worth of their work. The figures don't stop pounding away on their keyboards. In fact, they don't react to her words at all. Alrighty, so do we go straight to the server room, or do you want to check one of the side rooms first? Your call. I prefer to wrap things up here as fast as possible, but hey, little Kara's here with us, thanks to the data you've gathered. You betcha! If you think you can use her voice for something useful, hey, feel free to do it. You look around and think how to respond. No, we're gonna go straight to the server room. No, this is your show. Let's just get out of here as fast as we can. I hear you. This way. You follow Hope out of the room. Another depressing corridor, reeking of who knows what. You'd expect Hope to walk to the very end again, but this time she stops halfway and starts mumbling under her breath. Wait, was it this door, or... Don't tell me she moved things around. It looks like she's been here before, not a surprise in itself, but she gives off an impression of a person who used to know the entire layout of the building very well. After a brief reflection, Hope approaches a door a few feet away and pushes the button next to it. Apocalypse! Well, that's cheery. Apocalypse. Access granted. You walk inside. At first glance, this office looks very similar to the last one you entered. Rows of screens and rows of listless silhouettes in front of them. However, Hope quickly spots a difference. Target confirmed. Move in the data room. There's a room with endless machines at the back of the open space. Hope walks in, takes out some hardware of a bag she's carrying, and begins the process of removing the data. Should have invested in SSD, sis. Time to bust out my portable degausser. She turns to you. This will take a good minute. I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve. If you find something that interests you, let me know. Should you wait near her or take a look around? I'm gonna stay put in case something happens. I can try and help her, hopefully. I'd rather stay here. Who knows what might happen. Viruses, degaussed hard drives, some plain old boring vandalism. I hope you don't expect anything breathtaking to happen here. You don't, and it doesn't. You spend most of the following 30 minutes gazing at the dead-eyed ghoul and his screen next to you. When Hope is nearly done with her digital mischief, an error message appears on the ghoul's screen. He tries to fight it for a while, but it's futile, so he just slumps down, resigned. A while passes. Finally, you hear a triumphant yell. Oh, damn, baby! It looks like the boys are finally going to get a break! You realize that the constant silence rhythm of mechanical keyboards has stopped. The workers are all idling, slumped over their desks, completely resigned to the fact that their raison d'être has disappeared. Hope hurriedly collects her hardware and motions you to follow after her. Alright, we're almost done. Now we just need to take care of the backups and we can get the hell away from here. You take a last glance at the ghouls and follow her steps. Yet another corridor, hardly discernible from the previous ones. This is a giant underground complex. How much money has Montgomery spent on it? Hope looks around, frowning, mumbling, something indecipherable. Eventually, she points in front of her. There. This is where she must keep the backups. It's a sturdy metal door, unlike any other in this building. Right next to it, however, is a voice-based security system you know pretty well by now. Please, 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 just no last-second surprises. She hesitates to do it, but eventually she pushes the button. Eternal return. Hope dutifully types down the term on her phone. Eternal return. That's not gonna be good. Access denied. Please try again. Hope hisses under her breath. This time, you push the button. Double spiral. Tap, tap, tap. Double spiral. You feel like time has frozen. For whatever reason, it takes longer than usual for the speaker to deliver the verdict. Access granted. Maybe she is looking at us from some type of camera, and she noticed, and she granted us this access. That is what I think is going on. I mean, it has to be. It took so long. This time, you'll walk in first and Hope follows. Wait a minute. You recognize this place? This is Hope's Haven. What the hell? It shouldn't be here, but there's no two ways about it. This is Hope's Haven. Same bed, same decorations, same ambience. It's all a lot more dusty, but the backups are in the back. I'll just get them. She seems a little sheepish as she approaches the double spiral devices and unpacks her own hardware to take care of them. You take in your surroundings. I bet she worked here, because like they made it seem like she knew doors about, you know, doors, and maybe she's moved things around. So maybe this was her old haven and she just made an exact replica in a different spot. I don't know. Oh, so it's like that, huh? I understand everything now. Hope sighs. Doesn't take a genius to figure it out now. She looks at you as if she was about to add something, then bites her tongue and gets back to destroying her rival's life. She makes it obvious she doesn't want to re-examine her past. You rest against the bed, quietly watching Hope's technological wizardry and wondering about her past relationship with Kara for who knows how long. Every second you spend here, you become more impatient to get out. Eventually, the devices surrounding the double spiral backup start disappearing into the bag they were taken out of. Looks like the process is nearing completion. You decide to approach the door before it does. However, before you even make a move, the door begins to make a grinding noise. You freeze up, watching them open. Behind them stands the very person you were afraid would appear. That's the punk t-shirt you hoped you would avoid seeing tonight. Jesus fucking Christ almighty. Hope raises her head and their eyes meet. Both their faces momentarily turn to stone. Oh. You could pick out any emotion from their stares and you'd probably be right. An unbearable tension fills the room as nobody wants to make the first move. Eventually, it's Hope who decides to break this stalemate by loudly pressing the enter button on her laptop and immediately dropping it into her bag. You doubt it's anything more than a provocation, but Malkavian letting her opponent know she won. But it works. The noise makes Montgomery snap out of the stupor. You psycho! You fucking demented, vindictive psycho! The air turns thick with murderous intent. Hi. Hope pretends she hasn't noticed. Kara's bloodthirst becomes palpable. You were supposed to be on the other side of the city right now, at the meeting. I'm notified about every failed voice authentication attempt. I got back here accepting to find some idiots still trying to make their way through the front. She looks around. Well, I never expected. It's just... how? Hope reluctantly types something down on her phone. I'm the CEO of Double Spiral and I endorse wrecking my shit. Kara grimaces at the sound of her own voice and quickly connects the dots. You fucking gremlin! How did you get your hands on that kind of tech? Even I! Company secret. Wink wink. Hope's provoking her. No two ways about it. Kara knows it, so she's trying to keep it cool. I built this paradise for you! For us! They were lovers! For yourself and nobody else. What happened to the Hope I used to know? She can't come on the phone right now. She's dead. I regret the day I let you into my life. Stop lying to yourself, Kara. You only regret the day you let me out of my life. Shouldn't have let your mask slip, Penny. A snappish response almost escapes Kara's mouth, but she manages to stop herself before letting the discussion devolve into a childish spat. Just tell me there's a copy of my data you haven't ruined and I'll let you out of here alive. She gives you a hateful look. Both of you. Hope tilts her head and flashes an evil ear-to-ear grin. Not a single bit of data remains. More than a decade of your work down the drain. Welcome to the worst night of your life since the dot-com crash, Miss Montgomery. Kara looks as if a stake was just driven through her heart. She starts to collapse, sliding down against the door, like she was sinking deeper and deeper into her personal hell. Hope just stares at her torment, wearing an indecipherable expression, waiting for her rival to reach the floor. And then she does, and there, at the lowest point of her life, she finds something unexpected. I never ever wanted to do this. This is not me. Her voice sounds completely different. If there's only one way out of this mess, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna get my data back. Hope looks confused for a second, then an understanding dawns on her. Come on, Kara, you would- oh, it's at me, she's herself now. You wouldn't dare, you started this game, now accept your loss. The game isn't over until all players are out of moves, honey. Oh, this is not good. Burn your fangs now. There's two of us against one, even if you commit the sin of diablerie. So diablerie is like final death, like you kill them, you drain every last inch of them, and you get their memories, some of their skills, stuff like that. And in the Camarilla, you're only allowed to do it with the permission of the prince, which she doesn't have right now, so risky move. The last time something like this happened to me, I was ready to die. I think I'll take my chances. It's not like I haven't dreamed about feeling my fangs inside you for a long, long time. So, you want to give me this one victory? Prove once and all that I was right? It was never about me, but about all the stupid garbage in my head. Victory? Please. Victories are material. They aren't like your little online arguments. She's serious about this, Diana. She wants to devour me as a whole. Sacrifice her humanity in exchange for access to my soul and everything I know. Stay away, Diana. You want money, data, domain privileges, a position at Double Spiral, anything you want. You can get it if you just look the other way. Don't listen to this shit. For the moment the prince finds out, it's final deathful. And Cara runs, her moves resembling a beast more than human, immediately closing the distance to Hope. Then she jumps at the Malkavian like a wild animal hunting a prey. Hope instinctively attempts to defend herself, but is immediately overwhelmed. Laying on the ground, she looks like a deer in the headlights. Cara, on the other hand, looks like a bear, ready to maul its victim. If you want to react, you need to do it now. I'm gonna save my Malkavian friend. Boop. You push yourself to the limit and let your powers take over. You know she's dangerous, but so are you. You know you can endure her hits, but can she endure yours? As it turns out, yes. Oh, fuck. Your attempt to drag Cara away from Hope quickly turns into an exchange of wild, messy blows. The thing is, when she realizes you've tapped into your superhuman power, she responds by doing exactly the same thing. And since she's in beast mode, she's hitting faster and harder than you. This is a battle of attrition you probably can't win. You back away, deciding to pick a different approach. Let your instincts take over. We're gonna go full speed ahead. You've decided to let your instincts take over. Before you know it, you're already at a full sprint. You run up to Cara, grab her, and start pulling her away from Hope. However, you're dealing with a beast here. Choosing to trust your instincts, you underestimated hers. Before you realize what's happened, you find yourself smashed against the nearest wall. Confused and in pain, you check your torso. Some bones feel broken. You still got lucky and should be able to move around, but this will take some time to heal. Cara's already focused on attacking Hope again. Just rushing in blindly won't help. You'll need a plan. Wait. There's no point to just rushing it blindly. Cara's like a feral animal right now. You don't wrestle with those. You use tools to overwhelm them. Okay. Hold on. Right. You look at Hope's bag. Could any of her devices help? No way in hell. Think harder. You look at the bed, the pillows, the canopy, hooks hanging down from the ceiling. Are we gonna suspend her on a hook, but like through her heart? So are we gonna stake her with that hook? That would be cool. Bingo! You grab one of the hooks and yank the chain. It's long enough for your idea to work. You run up to Cara, who's about to maul Hope like a wild animal. Then you stab her with all your strength. The hooks get deep underneath her skin. Cara yells, but there's more surprise than pain in her voice. You quickly wrap the chain around her a few times, then you step back and start pulling with all your strength. Cara's taken by surprise, still not understanding what's going on. She loses her balance and gives her victim a chance to escape. Hope takes it, still dazed. She takes a second to understand the situation, but when she does, she runs up to you and starts pulling the chain with you. Ah! You'd never handle her alone, but Hope displays surprising strength while pulling the chain. A minute later, she's hanging above the floor like a butcher's carcass. The end of the hook is stuck in her chest, and it's sinking deeper as she struggles. However, she's flailing so wildly, she might free herself before it puts her out of commission. Ah! You use one hand to desperately search for something that can help you under the bed. Belts, handcuffs, a whip, a giant cattle prod. You have no time to act. What? Bl00d? I have no clue what that word means. I'm not a native English speaker. I'm sorry. Can anyone in the comments let me know what that word means? Because I have no clue. You put it to her head and turn it on. She got me dead! The device must be modified. The power currently is so powerful it causes scarring almost immediately. She's getting weaker and weaker. And she just keeps on screaming. It takes Kara a while to accept defeat, but eventually she does. Her body seemingly lifeless, her head hanging down. She looks like a grotesque portrait of defeat. The hook must have reached her heart. It takes Hope a long time to collect herself. Eventually she manages to speak up. Guess we've gotten up to this point, huh? Just like Kara before, Hope starts to talk in a completely different way than she usually does. She's her actual self now. You have a bad feeling about this. You want to add my data to yours? You know, I can grant your wish. Except not the way you've imagined it. Hope starts mumbling and circling around Kara for the first time since you've met her. She acts like she doesn't have her phone in her hand. This violent aura. The Malkavian looks deeply into your eyes and she knows you know what she's tempted to do. You silently beg for her not to do it. It doesn't feel right. She makes her decisions. She smiles artificially, and it feels purposefully fake. Be my witness. I haven't harmed her. You left her here with me, and you have no idea what happened next. Her voice is still changed from what you're used to. She's not having fun. She's driven by malice. I've disabled security, so you're free to leave now. Call me whenever you need me. I'm a part of your coterie now, so I'll repay my debt, or whatever. You give her a suspicious glare. It doesn't faze her, though. I've still got some unfinished business here. She turns to Kara's listless body. A puppet is dangling sadly by a single thread. It would be smart for you to leave. Her tone makes it clear she's not willing to discuss anything. Your relationship is strictly professional, you sigh, shrug your shoulders, and head out the way you came from. The lights of New York welcome you above ground. See you soon, Hope. Hope you don't get into trouble. You try to celebrate the new addition to your coterie, but Kara's face appears before your eyes over and over again, making your victory bittersweet. The hunger calls to you. We have to feed. It's been a while since we've actually had to feed. The city skyscrapers, the seemingly never-ending sprawl of the boroughs, it's all a prison. You need to get it out. You need to take back control over your life this instant. The memory of your sire's frosty blue eyes mocks you, tempts you to show your dominance, to prove you have the guts to take what you want. Feeding. That's just a thing. Coaxing, no. Ordering a mortal to bend to your will. Drinking deep from their lifeblood. Faces pass you by, while some look more ravishing than others. Any would do right now. You compose yourself, your rational mind fearing a blatant breach of the Masquerade's temporary hold over the beast and its compulsions. Calming yourself is a small victory in and of itself. The semblance of command will have to do for now, but it won't last. You need to quench this hunger before it overtakes you and makes you lose control. Rest. Yo, but we need to feed! We're gonna feed on that reporter, I think. Oh, great. Kadir Al-Asmai, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your haven. Haha, great! They already figured out that we were in the thing with Kara. The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had business with you, you'd either expect to see him already in sight or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as a permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. You haven't really had the time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Lange's apartment. Through and through. A secluded study where nobody studied anything. Look at the books on his shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, but not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner, aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirits. Next to all this garbage poetry, we can make a bet. If she'd read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. The kind of place that self-professed hermits entomb themselves into suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight-or-flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it know. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Oh, okay. Your mind keeps going back to that night where everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with the body next to you, spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next. That endless car ride, 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty crowd, that Bl00d, a rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executor who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's read the emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice. He's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you, and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In a large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see, but that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I use to operate. And so I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone, but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice. A voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than the who done it or how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make up my job much harder. Just like conspiracies between 2 unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall. A boss serving their employee, a rebel serving a tyrant just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? You're surrounded by unclear motivations which you yourself don't understand, and that unnerves me. And it should unnerve you as well. This monologue has gone on for long enough. Why are you here? What is this about? Finally, you manage to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you? Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. The last time you met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of New York City community, and as long as you're part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? You mean someone I'm trying to recruit into my coterie? Kadir shakes his head. I'm monitoring them, and they know it. If they're breaking the rules, they're doing it the right way, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to share something. A moment of awkward silence. Joking. Mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. That's the guy who turned me, I think. Or my boss, or the guy who turned me, I don't know. Benjamin Newman. The asshole who made the last few years of your life a living hell. The sexual harassment, the mobbing, the way he kept delegating all his obligations to you without ever letting you reap the fruits of your labor, the way he stole your soul. Goddamn prick. You look up at Kadir, expecting answers. Wow. Apparently, your companion is in trouble. Lots of financial irregularities, and Mr. Newman is all too happy to testify that the one employee who's just suddenly disappeared is to blame. The story is as fishy as it gets, but your disappearance is being investigated and a lot of people are searching for you. It attracts attention to us, and as such, it must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange? What? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished business, and disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean. No contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims, and it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with kind they used to hold dear, their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Woo! Of course he's invested in being kind to you, or he's making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well, I arrange a meeting when you and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. God damn it, you need to think it through. My bitch of a boss. For a long time you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, thinking about how revenge is a dish best served cold. The hunger calls to you. I have to feed. The city skyscrapers, the seemingly never-ending sprawl of the boroughs, it's all a prison. You need to get out. You need to take back control over your life this instant. The memory of your sire's frosty blue eyes mocks you, tempts you to show your dominance, to prove you have the guts to take what you want. Feeding. That's just a thing. Coaxing. No. Ordering a mortal to bend to your will, drinking deep from their lifeblood. Faces pass you by, while you look more ravishing than others, any would do right now. You compose yourself, your rational mind fearing blatant breach of Masquerade's temporary hold over the beast and its compulsions. This is the same text as we had before. Yeah. I need to feed. But who can I feed on? Maybe I can feed on this reporter. Maybe that's why they put the reporter there. I don't know. Let's just go with the reporter. The street lights filter into the apartment in a stark white glow, as if someone were shooting a movie outside. The art piece display a tasteful expanse entirely fitting the image you have of Sophie. It feels as if 1,000 sins have been committed on these premises, most of them under her benevolent hospitality. Sophie comes to greet you as your entire living room, shaking her head. You understand that people judge me based on how you dress, don't you? Sophie looks at your clothes as if resigned to your sartorial limitations. I've had other things to worry about than shopping for clothes. Sophie walks to the window and looks out, the street lights playing on her features. She reminds you of a queen contemplating the unfortunate limitations of a subject. You'd think that as a vampire, at least we wouldn't have to worry about the vultures of the press. Unfortunately, when you have power and ability, there are always parasites trying to feed on you. Is there a reporter after you? Yes, a terribly persistent creature. Sophie steps away from the window and settles down on a sofa, a wine glass with red liquid in it, blood. Treat it as to not spoil. You've become good at noticing the scent, even from a distance. She doesn't offer you any, as you cautiously sit down across from her. This awful man has been stalking my apartment with a camera. He's gone through my trash, talked to the neighbors. Please be a dear and explain to him that there's not for him here. Is this about a masquerade? That's a big deal for us, right? Indeed, you're learning. This must happen often. How do you usually deal with it? Everyone has their own way. Sometimes a problem goes away with a bit of money or sharp words. Other times you need something more. Do I get something out of this, or am I just your servant? You get to enjoy my protection. Time for you to go. I have business to attend to. You leave the apartment as Sophie disappears into another room. You don't have a clear idea of the game she plays with the city's mortal and immortal power structures, but she always seems to be making a move. Outside on the street, there's a slight warm drizzle, the kind that gets under your clothes and makes you want to take a shower when you get back to your own haven. No reporters immediately jump out to you. Investigate the area. You start with the basics of investigative work. You ask the proprietor of the bodega around the corner, the homeless man sleeping in a nearby doorway, and the doorman of another building whether they've seen anyone strange. Detective work produces results. You get a description of a man who sounds like a reporter. Older, overweight, pasty, and in bad physical condition. Professional camera. Once you know what you're looking for, it's not difficult. You spot a man who matches the description and follow him. You enter an alley, a dark, dingy space between two tall buildings. Once upon a time, a place like this might have worried you, made you think of muggings and violence. Now it's clear that the most dangerous thing here is you. The man you are following seems to realize this too. He holds his camera in front of him like a shield, its heavy objective resting on his paunch. With a start, you recognize him. You remember the face, the shades of sunglasses from a picture next to a byline in some trashy paper. Someone thrust in your face at a company party. His name is Frank Daughtry, and he'd taken pictures of one of your investors filling up a sex worker at a nightclub. You'd been here too, and the funny thing was, what Daughtry showed in the photo was just the tip of the iceberg. After all, work hard and play hard was the order of the day.
Hey, don't go around scaring people like that.
Wow, you're Frank Daughtry. I'm a huge fan. Love your work.
Thank you. It's nice to have one's work appreciated.
What are you reporting on?
Not sure you can help me. Well, perhaps you can. Do you live here? I'm working on a story about a local resident. Her name is Sophia Langley. Everybody knows her in high society circles. She's red-dead, pretty as a picture, and there were a lot of pictures of her through the years. That's the thing, in fact. Look at this.
Frank pulls out his phone and starts showing you pictures. Some have been downloaded from news sites, while others are photos from society pages of newspapers from past decades. I'll show Sophie. She has different clothes, hairstyles, makeup, names, but the face remains the same. That's strange. What do you think is going on?
Beats me. That's what I'm here to find out.
You must have a theory about what's happening.
I have a theory or two, but before I print my theory, I need facts to back it up. 3 words. Extreme plastic surgery. All the celebrities do it. Only your doctor is better than the rest.
You look critically at the photos on Frank's phone. You're thinking the world's best plastic surgeon is working out of this alley?
Okay, fine. I don't know what this is about. So, how would you explain it?
Have you considered the possibility that those pictures are a hoax?
Sure, anything can be a hoax, but I dug up those old papers from the archives myself. I got to have something usable.
I'm gonna dominate him. You look Frank in the eyes. There are red behind his shaded glasses. Veins pop from years of neglecting his body. Suddenly he seems soft and easy to manipulate. His will nothing but plaster crumbling out your boot. Go home, destroy your research on Sophie Langley. As her vampiric gaze takes over Frank's mind, he feels less than a person and more like an automation. A machine you can program. Perhaps this is why older vampires are said to think of humans as nothing but animals. How can you consider someone a thinking person with free will when you can override them at any moment? Frank is mumbling, following his camera, inching around you to the entrance of the alley. He looks sad and worn as he goes. A man who used to be something, now just a shell. It feels almost embarrassing to use the powers of your blood on someone so weak. At least you're pretty sure he'll stay away. Man, I wanted to feed on him, and now I can only rest. Oh my god, we're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna be in big trouble, you guys. This is not gonna end well for us. I just want to feed. I just want to feed. Can I not, like... This is just a log. I just want to feed. But I can't because I need to rest. Yeah, now it's gonna go bad now. The plan was to return to your haven for the day. The sun is coming up soon after all, but that's not what the beast has in store for you. Oh no! The feeling of emptiness, the overwhelming famishment that takes hold of you cannot be denied or bargained with. The time when you could reason with your thirst is over. You don't remember how it happens exactly, but you find yourself in an alley, sucking the last drops of blood from the savage gash in the corpse's neck. Ah, no! You've killed somebody tonight, and did it very close to your haven. Any attempts at covering up this poor soul's death become secondary when you realize that the dull glow over the city in the east and the sun is coming up. You barely make it back to your haven in time. You realize your clothes are a mess, torn in places, covered in blood, your victim's blood. How many people saw you get into the building? You don't know. It was a panicked sprint to escape the light. Instinct saved your skin. The same instinct that decided it was time to feed the beast. You cannot let this happen again. You cannot ignore the hunger for as long as you did before tonight. Your humanity depends on it. Yeah, I know that, but I didn't see any feeding opportunities. So I wanted to feed on the reporter, but it didn't give me the option. Knock knock, you'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the sheriff of New York City would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, fledgling. You don't feel like it, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent. Stay close. He leads you down the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just the way I remember it, down to the rear-view mirror reflecting the intense stare of your guide. However, the trip itself feels notably different. The last time Kadir drove you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. Goddamn Newman. You're getting violent just thinking about him. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I said, I've arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well, but I'll
Reiterate, just so you can't ever say that I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the Masquerade. Don't establish some secret routes of contact. I will know. Do treat it as the last time you two will meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. You're fine. You found yourself at a crossroads, decided to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable. The rent is too high and they've heard it all. However, you do not appreciate being accused of a crime you didn't commit, so you're back, both to clear your name and strike fear into the heart of the real culprits. By now you should know how to cause fear among the living, right? He smokes at you. Have fun. As long as you don't leave a mess for me to clean up, we should be good. The car makes a sudden turn. I'll leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he's going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you are worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look around and recognize your destination. He was right, it's a familiar place. It's the office in which you wasted the best years of your life. Newman should be up there. Apparently someone is blackmailing him with documents proving his penchant for embezzlement. The poor guy is stuck in his office and is probably pretty shaken up. The documents don't exist, but it would be a shame if someone went there, wiped the floor with the man, found proof that he pilfered the funds and forced him to admit his crimes. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for Newman's office. The elevator ride up doesn't seem to end. After what feels like 5 hours, but in reality closer to 30 seconds, you finally reach your floor. Your ex-boss is sitting in his office, just like Kadir said. He looks, how can you put it, as if he just googled body language of alpha males and attempted to poorly copy the most cartoonish posture in order to intimidate the blackmailer. Out of habit, you take a deep breath as you step inside his office. Diana? He immediately reacts as it's just Diana. His eyes say as a sly grin appears beneath him. Forget to ask for vacation? People are worried, you know. Not to mention overwork to hell and back. Then overwork some more. Someone had to take over your responsibilities. And guess what? Just as we started digging into your work, some unexpected financial irregularities started popping up. We'll need to work on a common story to explain those, you see. You keep quiet and just stare him down. The poor idiot still thinks he's a predator in the room. Let's see how long it takes for him to realize his mistake. Newman senses that you're different somehow. He attempts to stare back, but fails to withstand your glare. He starts to wonder what's going on and quickly arrives at a conclusion. Wait a second. So you're the one who sent me the message? Now that's a laugh. He started approaching you. Sweetheart, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. You think you could convince anyone that you never knew what was going on around here? Fat chance. And even if you did, you know my friends, they never let you live it down. He's right in front of you, licking his lips, pondering the best way to display his complete physical superiority. You won't give him the chance. I'm gonna scare the shit out of this man. Before Newman blinks, you're standing in front of him with your arms crossed. After he blinks, your hand is already on his throat. He freezes up. He watches you get in his face and slowly brandish your long fangs. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do! Fuck! A loud, throaty, inhuman growl rings out throughout the office and begins to morph into a violent hiss. For a moment, your ex-boss can't identify the source of the overwhelming sound, or rather, his brain refuses to accept that your relatively small body is capable of generating a noise like this. As he begins to understand the process of unnatural side of your fangs, he is gradually overpowered by an animalistic fear that shatters his entire worldview. You were supposed to be a victim. Why are you a threat? Why did reality break? You slowly tighten your grip on his neck, not hard enough to trigger a fight response, but enough to strike deeper fear into his heart. Kneel. Newman complies with your demands, squealing softly, a single tear making its way down the stubble on his cheek. Well, at least this man knows that he's fucked. Obey. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't kill me, please. You gather your strength and throw him, slamming him against his desk. A born boardroom predator has met his better in the place he least expected it. You slowly start walking towards him. Stop! I'll get it! I'll do it! I'll fucking do it!
With shaking hands, he scrambles towards a safe on his shelf. He opens it and takes out some documents inside. This is what you want, right? This is what you want! He ripped the papers from his hands and browsed them. These should be enough to, as Kadir would put it, prove his penchant of embezzlement. I'll clear your fucking name. I'll tell somebody else. You twisted your heel into his hand. He screams. I did it. I'll tell them I did it. If you don't, I'll visit again. You walk into the elevator, press the ground floor button and wave at Newman as the door starts closing. He mumbles something under his breath and winces in pain. Back to Kadir's car. Once he closes the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets? Said everything you had to say? I wiped the floor with him and got the documents that should keep him in check. That asshole will be looking over his shoulder constantly for the rest of his life. Kadir smiles deviously. Looks like you can take care of business, as expected. I don't need to tell you to hang all those documents, but keep in mind that you can use them for more than a security guarantee. We're always looking for more contacts among the big fish. Once you settle in, you can use Virginia Newman to convince the elders that he's better off as your guru. Ugh, I don't want that creepy old man to be my ghoul. Now that's an enticing thought. I'm surprised at a suggestion. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good hard look. Thanks. It doesn't feel like a, how do you call it, very vampire thing to say, but you say it nevertheless. He is visibly taken aback, and his usually furrowed brow smooths for a moment. Then he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still there. Without a doubt, he will go back to decapitating suckers like you anytime now. Dude, can't you just... Come on. You look out the window and you see your haven. Take care, I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your haven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him, what with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight you can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him, that's for sure. Okay. We have this reporter again. Well, we have to finish this stuff with this reporter now. The weather is cold and windy as you walk to Sophie's apartment. As a vampire, that doesn't matter anymore. You may have been saddled with eternal hunger, but at least you can ignore the wind chill. Just as you come to the door of Sophie's building, she storms out, murmuring into her phone. Yes, I know, don't worry. I trust you to handle it. You've heard Sophie talk to her associates before. It's always the same, generalities and vague suggestions. It makes you think she's involved in mysterious machinations, yet doesn't tell you anything. Sophie's dressed to kill, but there's nothing unusual in that. She likes to make an impression. A black car with tinted windows is waiting for her. In front of the door, a chauffeur steps out to open the car door for her. Sophie notices you. I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. If you could look around for me one more time, that would be wonderful. You told me you'd gotten rid of that reporter. Turns out he's still here, snooping around. Sophie is very good at communicating disappointment. She doesn't have to do much to make it clear that she's unhappy to have to return to this issue. I'll take care of it. After tonight, he won't trouble you anymore. Good. Don't disappoint me. The reporter talked his way into the building during the day. Once the doorman understood what was happening, he threw him out. He showed old pictures of me to my neighbors. It's very awkward, you understand? Sophie disappears into the car, and the chauffeur closes the door behind her. You watch as the sleek vehicle disappears into the Manhattan traffic. Just one anonymous car among many. Best sit down somewhere and devise a plan of action. You get to a nearby diner, settle into your booth, and order a coffee from the steely-eyed Latino waitress. As she brings you your cup, you describe Frank Guthrie to her on the off chance she's seen something. Just as she's about to answer, you happen to look outside. Something catches your eye. The diner is brightly lit, so you lean closer to the window to see the street through it. You got lucky. Frank is standing on the sidewalk on the other side of the street, looking at something on his phone. You slide out the booth, throwing a few small bills on the table, mumbling something to the waitress. You step outside. I'm gonna follow him. For a reporter, Frank isn't terribly observant. You keep your distance, hiding behind people and cars, but he doesn't look around. It seems like he wants to find a private nook to inspect the photos he took tonight. An alley. He ducks in, and you follow.
Oh god, you again, please! I'm working on a different story, I swear!
Frank retreats deeper into the alley. In that case, you won't mind a little friendly chat.
I'm all about being friendly. Okay, I'm sorry, I tried to bullshit you. Just tell me how I can help you.
How come you're here? I thought we agreed there's no story.
Usually when someone says there's no story, that means there is a story. I just couldn't let it go. Look, I don't want any trouble. I can see that you're serious. There's something to Sophie Langley, and I think you know what it is.
You take a long, hard look at Frank Dowtry. He's a tenacious man, but not brave. After the last time you met, you were sure he'd been dealt with. Where did he find the courage to come here again? I like you, Frank. You don't give up. What's your real angle here?
Everybody plays an angle. That's one of the things you learn in my profession. You're smart, you know that there will be others after me. If there's a real story, they will come and find it. Your best shot is with a friendly reporter, someone you can trust, someone like me. So what do you say? Get ahead of the story. It'll be good for you and Miss Langley too.
You almost believe it, but something about Frank feels off. You've already sunk pretty low, Frank, with blackmail. That's rock bottom. You sure you want to go that far?
No, I still have my pride. I've never done this work for money. It's a lifestyle, a calling.
A calling to blackmail?
I'm not collecting material for blackmail. Give it a rest. Sometimes I just need some extra money, that's all.
Where does this extra money come from?
This guy is paying me, that's all. But I can't talk about that.
We're doing it. Doesn't feel like you can get anything more out of him, or perhaps that's just something you tell yourself because you see the sweet blood moving under his skin. It's hard not to share. Frank's not a beautiful man, but you've learned that any mortal's veins can be appreciated if you look at them long enough. Blood is a great equalizer. Young or old, rich or poor, they all serve as sustenance to you. You decide to give up on Frank. You drink him dry. He won't come back again. Well, I'm gonna make it a pleasant death for him. You've grown to like Frank despite everything. You want to make his last moments pleasant. Close your eyes, I'll make you feel good. Frank doesn't have time to react before you take him into your arms and gently bite down on his neck. The bliss of your bite overwhelms him and he moans in helpless desire. It's difficult to say whether Frank realizes you're killing him. He struggles weakly. But that could just be from the sensation your bite gives him. By the time life is really leaving his body, he can't do much more than lean on you. You've come to learn that all mortals taste a little different, the traces of their life showing in the blood in their veins. Their emotions push through, making each feeling different. It's a question of taste, whether you prefer your prey scared or aroused. You drink your fill and Frank goes weak into your arms, falling down, his body lifeless. There was a richness to his blood that you appreciate. You've already learned that it's a mistake to judge quality of blood based on the mortal's looks, and Frank certainly knows that to be true. There's a dumpster in the alley. Straining a little, you haul Frank's body into it. You tear at his clothes and take his wallet to make it show like a mugging gone wrong. Not long ago, doing something like this would have been inconceivable. Now it's just feeding. Do we have more time or do we need to rest? No, we need to rest. Okay. Okay, so nothing else happens in the haven. I want to go back to D'Angelo. Oh, wait. Somebody's watching me is back. Let's do that. You're in your haven. When the intercom rings, answering cautiously, you hear an older male voice. Hello, I'm calling because a friend asked me to come by and offer you my services. Ah! What do you mean, services? You know, services. You know what I'm talking about. The man sounded strangely excited, breathing hard. I need something to go on. She told me not to talk about these things in public. I know you're one of them. Please, it's alright. I don't mind. You can drink with me, if you understand what I mean. Oh, well, thank you. A man you've never seen before is paying a visit to an apartment not many people know of, offering you to feed from him. Let's continue this face to face. That's a wonderful idea. Silence. A minute passes and you hear a knock on the door of your haven. You cautiously open the door. A stranger looks at you sheepishly. He's in his 30s, dressed in a clean business suit. He looks moderately successful. Someone you could meet in an investment bank. I'm sorry, I didn't want to intrude, so that's why I called from downstairs. You know what? Come in. I was hungry anyway. The man looks comically satisfied as you usher him into your haven. He barely waits for you to close the door before he loosens the collar of his shirt, closes his eyes, and bares his neck in quivering expectation. You look at the man, taken aback by such forwardness. Forgetting that you didn't invite the man here for a chat, you lean closer, take him by the shoulders, and sink your fangs into him. This is not an unpleasant way to feed. You reflect as the blood flows into your mouth. The food comes to your door of its own volition. The man moans as you drink from him, lost in the ecstasy of the kiss. It feels a little unseemly, but it would be churlish to begrudge him his pleasures. Taking care not to drink too much, you let go of the man after licking his wounds closed. Suddenly, you're startled by a surprising sight. A woman, not very old, strangely dressed, is looking at you, intently only an arm's length away. Before you can react, the mysterious woman opens your front door and vanishes from sight, leaving you to wonder whether you really saw her at all. As you stare confused, the man you drank from slips out of your haven into the hallway, staggering a little from the effects of the kiss. You close your door, wondering what this all was about. At least you got a feed, if nothing else. I want to know what's up with that. There's gotta be something up with that, you know? Okay. Right, we're gonna do one more thing here, and we're gonna continue with D'Angelo. As you leave your haven, a homeless man bumps. We already read this. Let's just go D'Angelo. Knowing there are only so many places with a good enough view of the Manhattan Bridge, you decide to check the ones that aren't likely to be crowded at this time of night. It doesn't take long before you hit the jackpot, Jane's Carousel. As you're walking along the pier, you notice a lonely figure sitting on a bench. Steel flask in hand, his legs up on the railing. Soon enough, you hear a familiar voice. The evening turnout tonight, and the final flickering rays of the sunlight gave way to the kind nocturnal shadows. So did the last of the jabbering tourists give way to the blessed silence. And yet, I couldn't shake the feeling. Pausing mid-sentence, he leans back over the bench, backrest, and looks straight at you. Upside down, his face looks even creepier than usual. That I wasn't alone. That flask, is that what I think it is? Depends on what you think. It's a little something from my private reserve. I call it the Drunken Sailor, because that's probably where it came from. He takes a sip, then points the flasks in your general direction. Want some? Well, we just fed, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Sure, why not? You smell the contents of the flask and immediately recoil. Even if it wasn't for the nasty whiff of cheap booze, the underlying scent of blood underneath isn't appetizing at all either. You know what? I'll pass. You won't hear me complaining. Not about that, anyway.
There's been another one. Killing, I mean, down by the docks.
Same MO? The blood? The graffiti?
Yep, it was our gal, alright. The victim's sucking dry, same as before, another sign on the wall. Something about impending doom and oh lordy coming. Oh lordy coming! Okay, oh lordy coming. You know, the night I saw her, she looked so frail, so innocent. Deep inside I was hoping she'd be spooked, get out of town, that maybe, just maybe, that will be the end of it. But that's me, you know, hopelessly optimistic.
Okay, so what's the plan?
The plan is,
He stops mid-sentence, taking a swig of liquid courage.
we stop her, at any cost. I'd rather not involve killing the girl, but I'm starting to think that ship has already sailed.
Another swig. You're not sure how much of this is genuine and how much is an act, but still. He's starting to worry you a bit.
So anyway, I set up a meeting, neutral ground, public space, shouldn't get too ugly. Still, I was hoping you could tag along.
Was it Larson again?
Nah, let's leave the poor schmuck alone for now. It's pretty clear he's just as clueless as we are.
He looks away and pats the bench next to where he's sitting.
You might want to sit for this one.
Unless you want me to introduce me to your parents, I can probably handle it. Come on, who is it?
Valerie.
Valerie? As in the murderous bitch Valerie? Likes to choke people out of their fuck of it Valerie? That Valerie?
You ever notice that if you repeat a word enough times, it just starts to sound like animal noises? But yeah, that Valerie. I know you two didn't exactly hit it off, but she's not as bad as you might think. I mean, in some respects, she's probably worse, but she could be reasoned with.
Once again, he goes for the flask, but stops himself mid-motion.
Look, the way I see it, we ain't got no choice. As much as I want to help Santa, she's clearly a few bets short of a balefire. More people are going to die unless we do something about it.
Alright, fine, I get it. Lesser of two evils. Lead the way then.
I like your attitude, kid. I know it sucks, but hey, if there's one thing life has taught me, you don't always get what you want.
Noticeably proud of his words of wisdom, he tries to top them off with one last swig. A single drop falls between his crooked teeth. He looks at the empty flask with utmost contempt.
Well, ain't that fucking poignant?
Muttering a curse under his breath, he makes a valiant effort to get up off the bench. As he staggers, struggling to remain upright, you offer your shoulder to lean on. He shoots you a smile that's as crooked as it is affectionate.
Hey, kid.
You meet his gaze, trying to look friendly rather than condescending.
Yeah, alright.
And with that heartfelt moment, you bid adieu to the sprawling vista and make your way towards the bridge. Next stop, Manhattan. Entering the park from Midtown Manhattan, you promptly take a spot by one of the alleys, not very deep into the park. Minutes pass. 5, 10, 15. You start to wonder if she's even gonna show up. Suddenly, you hear a familiar voice, but with an unfamiliar tone. She sounds almost nice. Hello, Jenny. And there she is, walking along the side of the fountain. She looks less out of place here than back at that chunky infested hovel, but only by a slight margin. Something tells you there are only so many places she would feel at home, and probably not ones you would want to find yourself in.
Well,
she glances over at you, barely noticing your presence. Sorry about last time. Nothing personal, you understand. When I get caught up in the moment, I can get a bit intense.
I can attest to that.
Can you two just get a room, because the sexual tension is just unbearable? D'Angelo gives you a pleading look. He clearly doesn't want you to dwell on the subject. You hear that, Jenny? Your friend has us all figured out. She takes a step towards you. The smell of her perfume is overpowering. Or maybe it's just jealousy. Although, I'd be careful if I were you. Last time we got close, it didn't exactly work out for you. Speaking of which, how's that neck doing?
It's fine. I barely felt it anyway. She can tell you're lying. You can tell she's enjoying herself.
I'm so glad. Now, let's get down to business.
We're here to talk about Santa.
Who? Oh, right, the thin blood. What about her?
The girl's a threat. We need to find her. Figured we can do it faster if we work together.
Uh-huh. Keep going, honey. 'Cause I have a feeling there's a catch coming.
The catch is... Awkward silence is not often. It's not often you see him at a loss for words. Seeing him struggle, you decide to jump in. I want the girl to stay alive.
See, now that's a deal breaker right there, sugar. If you want me to even consider it, you'll have to sweeten the pot.
Once again, she turns to D'Angelo.
And I bet tall, dark, and handsome over here might have some ideas.
Just tell us what you want.
Oh, you're no fun anymore.
She wants a higher profile target to show off to the prince what a good little skirt she is. That's all you care about nowadays, huh? Playing the game, climbing the ranks. A smile creeps onto her lips. You can tell it's forced. D'Angelo definitely knows how to get under her skin.
That's my Jenny. A big old brain and a heart to match.
Once again, she turns to you.
I knew right away he'd try to help this girl. He does love him a damsel in distress. But you, I'm still not sure what your angle is.
Killing humans threatens the Masquerade. Putting a stop to it is bound to turn a couple heads.
So you're not a hopeless romantic like some of us here. Good to know, in case you ever get in my way. So there, you know my terms. Contact me when you've made up your mind. Don't take too long though, I'm a lucky girl. I might just find your little thin blood on my own. Still, I hope we can work together. We did make a good team back in the day, didn't we?
Slowly, seductively, she puts her arms around his shoulders. She glances over to you, clearly enjoying how awkwardly it makes you feel. You really do have a thing for the hidden, don't you?
My things are none of your concern, sugar. Anyway.
Withdrawing from the strange half-embrace, she flicks D'Angelo's nose gently with her index finger. Almost instantly, she turns from flirtatious to dispassionate.
However this plays out, I have a feeling we'll meet again sooner than later. Until then.
Without sparing you another glance, she disappears down an unlit park alley. D'Angelo watches her go. The look on his face, a mixture of longing and guilt, is borderline comical. Finally, he turns back towards you, as if breaking some spell he was under. Well, that could have gone a lot worse. Okay, I have to ask. Did you and she ever... No, not going there. Val and I, we got some history. Some of it good, some of it bad. Let's leave it at that. And kid, don't be fooled. Val likes to play around, but she will rip your fucking guts out and stuff them up your ass if it means she can get what she wants. And right now, she wants me to give her Lawson. Larson, why would she want him? He's a primogen, remember? A weak one, but still. For a scourge, he's a much more valuable target than some no-name Duskborn. And it just happens that a certain someone might have some dirt on him. He squints, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Fuck it, I'm heading back to the office. Need to put my feet up, get some blood flowing to the old noggin. You coming? You not. Why the hell not? And you make your way towards Fifth Avenue. You've got a long way ahead of you, and a lot of stuff to figure out. Although it's not your first visit, you still find it hard to navigate the dark, rust-ridden corners of the grain terminal. Luckily this time you're with someone who could probably do this blindfolded, so you just follow his lead. As you're both climbing the rickety stairs leading to the mezzanine, you suddenly notice light coming from D'Angelo's office. A quick look assures you that no, he did not in fact leave it on.
You bust through the door like undead Tango and Hooch, or was it Turner and Cash? Ready to unleash unholy fury on the intruders, you half expect an Anarch death squad or an SI hunting party. Instead, you get Larson, who nearly falls out of the chair when you two bust in. Well, look who it is. Missed us already?
Hardly.
Seemingly both intrigued and irritated by the surprise visit, D'Angelo walks over to a cabinet and pulls out a fresh cigar.
Then may I ask what brings you, oh venerable primogen, to my humble abode?
Her. He points at a tiny shadow cowering in the corner over the room. To your astonishment, it turns out to be a very familiar face. The blood? No, not again, please. Where the hell did you find her?
Outside my front door. She must have heard of me, found out where I lived. It's not uncommon knowledge among the Duskborn. She probably figured I could help, but honestly, I have no idea what to do with her. I mean, I should turn her into the prince, but that's just another strike against my people. Then again, I can't just set her loose, not after what she did. Fuck, D'Angelo, you can tell that I'm desperate and my first instinct was to come to you. No, Larson, it would attribute that the decision that was left off your common sense. He leans over to you. Hey kid, I think we should call it a night. Just give me some time to talk to the girl. Maybe I'll get to her somehow.
The sign is always there!
Oh, I ain't holding my breath.
Honestly, you're glad to leave him to it. Spending the night in a small room with a tiny serial killer somehow doesn't seem too appealing. Still, you're hoping D'Angelo will be alright. He's got some tough choices ahead of him. Oakley dokley. All we can do now is rest. And we're gonna leave it at this for now. And then next time, we're gonna check out maybe some of these other ones. It will depend if D'Angelo pops back on. I want to round off like the stories that we've started right now. And then I want to go to the other ones that we haven't done yet. So, okay. Thank you guys for watching. That was it for today. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I hope you liked it. Until next time, game with you later. Bye!